When it comes to creepy locations in Pokemon games, one of the most extensive would have to be Mount Pyre in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Up until the point these games came out, we really only had Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow to compare it to. And that was really peak location with the absolute dread with Lavender Town and a whole Pokemon cemetery in a tower. So how exactly do you follow up a Tower of Terror like this? Well, you bring a whole mountain's worth of dead Pokemon instead. Okay, it definitely isn't as iconic as a set piece as Pokemon Tower, especially with how much they've added in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but there are surely some interesting bits that make Mount Pyre wholly unique. For one thing, it's an island, which means you'll have to surf here, an integral part of the Hoenn region. And I know you're probably tired of hearing this in my videos, but it's another way that the design of a region shows how people live among nature. Instead of being a tower built in the middle of a city, Mount Pyre features some man-made structures built into an island, but also has a lot of graves in the natural landscape of a mountain. There's even grass outside where you can encounter wild Pokemon. You are required to go here as part of the story, but you really only need to reach the summit where the event with the orbs takes place. Otherwise, there's a pretty significant portion underground that hypothetically just go unexplored. There isn't anything too noteworthy there, a bunch of trainers and some items. It's able to go in both directions and hypothetically could have shown the most gravestones in any Pokemon game, but I think somehow Generation 1 still has it beat. Like I said, the underground portion is optional, so it doesn't have the same impact as climbing up the Pokemon Tower in order to reach the top and save Mr. Fuji. Though at the very bottom of Mount Pyre you can find the ETM for Shadow Ball, and that's a great thing to pick up. And I do love the music because it's gloomy and kinda depressing. And I've had it playing up until this point in the video, but as we move on to the exterior, you'll hear just how different the two musical themes are, because this song is an absolute bop. It still has a little bit of a spooky feeling, but I can't imagine how anybody's resting in peace when this song is playing 24/7. I also love the look of the exterior. It really feels older than any similar place in Pokemon purely because the headstones are placed alongside the road of a mountain. And there's a cool fog effect in the overworld that gives you a sense of how high up you are, but also makes it feel unsettling and eerie. Though the fog is only visual flavor and doesn't have any effect in battle like it would in Generation 4. I'm not saying that I think it should have been an actual weather effect because I really hate fog in Pokemon battles, but I just feel it would have been cool to see the battlefield change a little more for this location in the original games. I'm also a fan of how you can encounter the ghostly Pokemon mostly in the interior, but the exterior adds in more Pokemon that would fit in like Meditite, Chimecho, and Vulpix as we discussed in a previous video. Oh, and then Wingull is here also, I guess because we're on an island. Diversifying the Pokemon is a great way to make it really stand out. I kinda wish that Duskull and Shuppet weren't version exclusive Pokemon because it might have helped to make the whole place feel even more haunted. But when it comes to the story that unfolds here, it is pretty important as Team Aqua or Team Magma take over and demand the Elders hand over the Red Orb or the Blue Orb to allow them to awaken either Groudon or Kyogre. On recent replays, I was actually surprised that after battling through the grunts and admins that we don't end things off with a quick battle against the boss. Instead, they grab the orb and skedaddle. This does actually make it feel a little more dramatic because it leaves you with a sense of incompleteness and does a better job of leading into the next big battle. Otherwise, I really do like how there's a lot more importance placed on Mount Pyre when it comes to the lore of the entire region. Instead of just being a place where dead Pokemon rest, it has designated elders that serve as guardians, and even houses the Red and Blue Orb. Because these are what keep the legendary Pokemon from waking up, symbolically it serves as their final resting place. You know, it's really a shame that Mount Pyre never appeared in the anime, not in the main series or even any of the spin-off anime. It already gets the attention it needs in the video games and it showed up in the manga, but I would have liked to see it brought to life in animation. In the main series anime, there are definitely spooky moments, but they're all in different locations. And I guess that also kinda ties into how we didn't see Phoebe in the anime either. I imagine that if we had seen one, we would have seen the other as well. The old woman at the top of Mount Pyre is her grandmother after all, and in the remakes of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, she even hangs out there to train. I always just appreciated how Phoebe was a bit more connected to the region in this way. Also in the remakes, we can find a Hex Maniac who makes a reference to the Ghost Girl in Lumio City. Well, it's all up to interpretation and other analysis that I've done before, but speaking of, the Hex Maniac from the trading card game is one of the only other places we see Mount Pyre, as the indoor cemetery is seen in the background. In the end, Mount Pyre manages to be as eerie as you would expect for a spooky location in Pokemon, but there's just so much to appreciate here that it almost doesn't feel all that dreadful. The lush green colors and bright red and blue tombstones really help to break things up and create a unique location that is perfect for the Hoenn region. If anything, it feels a lot more welcoming among the various Pokemon cemeteries, and that ties into the themes of Hoenn in just the way I would have hoped. Death isn't necessarily scary, it's only another part of nature. So let me know what you think about Mount Pyre in the comments below and if you have any special memories of it. For now, I personally should be getting back to properly mourning the dead. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Alex Switch Shiny Hunter, Tyler Hopper, Jake Brody, GigaWiiU64, Isabella Lawrence, Alive R360, Nani, The Shoeman, Copybot, Master, Chaotic Sasano, 02, Lockadox, Koi 13, Cemetery Hill, Pastel Blood, Cosmo 0, Rainfrux, Cheez-It 62, Gator Kid 509, TF, Mathaclog 947, Taijirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
Can you believe it? On Saturdays, Pokémon is now on for 1 full hour!
Pika? Pikachu!
Oh, I forgot. That includes a brand new Pokémon episode. Catch a full hour of Pokémon Advance Challenge today, beginning at 10, 9,